And a clash be echo so our Metro TV Good Morning Ghana program. So Felix Kwakye Ofosu, a minister in charge of government communication. One former health minister, Dr. Oko Boye, Nanya Sam Kitakra. Nani nyina say, Omuhuni say, anasa Oko Boye huni say Attorney General. Sa na yi na we na press conference no abo we din we discuss no. Was sad na we say you're not being fair to the person because wo be kasa na nipa no court na process ne ko chance na so di bi ma. Na che nipa no gu ne hu fia ne sa. Ehun sam ane yebedwudwam e de ama yebete Felix Kwakye Ofosu nka saa so na Oko Boye yebete nka aha aye na Janto TV mpacho click subscribe button am say we have notification icon no o button on so that be a video no drop here once e be ka video yi you enjoy it until we share na like here na wa comment in the comment section after we share after so anya bi we are live on Facebook, TikTok, X babia na Janto TV and it's a Felix Kwakye Ofosu a minister in charge of government communication and okopiem Good Morning Ghana Metro Television so eno ana Oko Boye former health minister under NPP administration omienum e de kompempem so na nya asem kitakra Felix say the NPP for ne ye omo kana onte ase Attorney General bone be na waye investigation wa kwakoye ana charges ne kwadu a ode abo sa mpanyimfo we no eno be press conference no abeka ma Ghana fo nyina ate in fact His Excellency Nana Adanko Akufo-Addo obi nka say amamo de corrupt practices enkoso o say e dia 1 or 2 be pocket of corruption incidents ebekoso But they are witnessing in the last 8 years, no, unprecedented levels of corruption. I was say corruption levels, no, under MPP in the last 8 years. Na a bro agenda yes, so. It an NSS scandal, buffer store scandal, SMLAD, any scandals be including health ministry in the last 8 years. Can offer munyina dia was say a bro agenda yes, so. And until Attorney General, His Excellency Nana John Dramani Mahama. Ewini abana yeso in 7 January 2026 no also obeka His Excellency on very new aura say aura no enye operation recover all loot na corrupt practice akoso nyina omo gather evidence na evidence ye nyina no so emfa kwadu mo omo ye involved na ye bit ma recover sa properties and say scanner ye should say omo awia na enti hu ni say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama based on the experience as a former president na odi abana sa be the president biemu no he wanted to be transparent with Ghanaians. And to the president, I instructed Ama Attorney General. He sees nothing wrong with it. The Patrick Felix and some of the two know. But say there's nothing wrong with Felix. Say all transparent and open to Ghanaians. Ghana for Obama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, largely because of corruption. Among folks who say corruption and cost MPP time too much. It is John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency Abadia. And your corruption won't send someone or two and more. Also a transparent Ghanaians. And the Felix say Bonnie Bena. Attorney General MPP for Montias say Attorney General by press conference no abo we sikase na involved scandal discussing involved or say he sees nothing wrong with what the Attorney General is doing. Felix Kwakye Ofosu, a minister in charge of government communications.
You see, we have been in government before, and indeed President Mahama has actually been president before. He's the only president in Ghana who has left power and come back through democratic means. And when we were campaigning, we used to emphasize his experience and the fact that he knows the terrain already and therefore will hit the ground running. So, and that is telling, it has come to play in the sort of governance that he is offered thus far. Some of the things that happened under the NPP, they were not the ordinary issues that we used to banter about. In my earlier submission, I indicated that you hardly find a situation where 1 or 2 things won't happen under a government. There are always people trying to make a quick buck and all that. So that will fit into Oko Boye's model of the armed robbery, or the analogy that he devised about armed robbery and whether or not you can keep such people at bay from political parties. But we are talking of extraordinary levels of financial imprudence and recklessness and outright corruption and dissipation of state resources. Look, the National Service scandal that you've read about, the Auditor General's report that was released, have you heard anything of the sort in the history of Ghana? In fact, last week I told you that a similar occurrence happened under President Mahama. But if you look at the level of it and compare it to what has happened, especially when those who replaced the people who were taken through a certain legal process for misconducting themselves in the case of National Service had opportunity to learn from the mistakes of the past and didn't do so. You cannot gloss over this. The details of the buffer stock case, as the Attorney General highlighted, are mind-boggling. The Adubuhin case. And there are many others that will come. When the Auditor General's report on the payment of arrears comes, you would even marvel as to whether or not we actually had a government. And indeed, the NPP had also actually been in government before. So they were expected to draw lessons from this thing. And that was supposed to inform how they manage public resources. In fact, President Akufo-Addo made a clear commitment at his inauguration on January 7th, 2017, that he will protect the public purse. He didn't do that. The outcomes show that he did not do that. So the people of Ghana began to demand action. And we, as the opposition party at the time, and the next available alternative, responded to that clarion call by fashioning out a policy to demand accountability in ways that satisfy public demand, whilst putting in place measures to avoid their recurrence. And that is what gave birth to oral. So oral is in fact a policy that we canvassed before the people of Ghana, which they bought into. So we have a duty to roll it out. In this rollout, the people of Ghana must be updated. And that is the only reason why the Attorney General updates the people. The Attorney General doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. The charges that he filed against Abdul Hanan this week, they were published. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Right.
Are they different from what he disclosed at the press conference? No, it's the same issues. And in fact, under Oko Boye's government, Godfrey Dami used to put out charge sheets when he charged people. When he charged Atufosin and Co, he published it. So the details of the allegations were contained in it. It is the same thing that Dominica Ayini has done. Dr. Dominica Ayini has done as Attorney General. The only difference is that he has done it on the public platform and shown transparency and accountability. He has given reasons why Abdul Hanan, his wife, and the three others were taken through the processes preceding the arraignment before court. And that is what he has done in some of the cases. Of course, not all of them that he will be able to speak to. But the significant ones, he has opened it up for public scrutiny. When the Attorney General goes to court, the public knows what charges he is preferring against the people. Court proceedings are open to the public. They are covered by the media. So it is unclear to me why the NPP is up in arms about the Attorney General informing them. The people of Ghana are our employers. They are our bosses. It is their resources that are used to pay us. The investigations the Attorney General is conducting is paid for by the taxpayer. All the officials, some of whose names Oko Boye has mentioned this morning, are public officials who are paid with the taxpayers' money. The work they do is not secret. They are not operating under the cover of darkness. And so when they do their work and they update us up as to where they've got to, I don't think that there's any difficulty with it. And it is not true that the NPP kept quiet when they charged people under them. Their social media propagandists were all over the place, publishing details of court proceedings and charges against people. So we have never had a situation where anybody has been tried in Ghana in secret. And I have told you before that this is actually standard practice. In the most liberal, advanced democracies, where human rights are protected better than we do here, charges are discussed publicly, including very high-profile personalities. So the NPP really is chasing after shadows. You can understand why they don't want these things disclosed. Because as far as they're concerned, it only confirms that the people of Ghana were right to vote against them. And that it may hurt their chances going forward as a political party. Because people will see that when they entrusted them with responsibility, they were reckless and dissipated public resources. That is all that they are worried about.
So you don't agree with him when he says that the style of the presentation of the issues, it's seeking to assassinate people's characters and making them look as though they are criminals, even before a competent court of jurisdiction.
No, how so? When the Attorney General files charges and he discloses the details of the charges, what the person is alleged to have done, and it is published in the media, is the character of the person involved assassinated.
Right.
It is not. It is public scrutiny. It is public scrutiny. That's all that there is. So it is one of two things. I did it, I didn't do it. Yesterday, all the people who have been taken to court so far have pleaded not guilty. They will have opportunity to defend themselves. Why? In the Atufosin case, even before the trial ended, the appeals court threw out the charges leveled against them. Meanwhile, everything that had to be said had been said about them. Godfrey Dami, did he not grant interviews in the Atufosin matter? Did NPP communicators not publicize the details of the charges against Atufosin and Co? But the court cleared him.
Okay.
Why? O.J. Simpson. And I refer to him a lot because perhaps he's the gold standard in these things. Look at the publicity.
Right.
That case was given. In fact, the case was transmitted live. It was a criminal case, but it was transmitted live. In the end, the jury found him not guilty.
Okay.
So I don't understand. The Attorney General can never pronounce anybody guilty. The Attorney General says that my investigations show that Oko Boye has done A, B, C, D. For this reason, I am taking him to court on this day. That's what that he says.
Okay. All right.
That does not pronounce anybody guilty. Indeed, Abdulrahman and his wife have not been sentenced to prison, a jail term,
right,
because the Attorney General spoke. What the Attorney General has said will be tested in court. So if they have any contrary facts to dispute what the Attorney General has done, they will put it before the judge. The judge will make a determination.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what the Attorney General says. No judge convicts anybody because of what the Attorney General says. The judge will look at the evidence before him and make a determination based on what answers the accused persons provide.
Right.
So I don't understand what the NPP say. They just don't want the Attorney General to shed light on supposed wrongdoing. That is all that there is, because they know that perhaps there's a political price to pay for it. That is what it is about.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't get it.
The abusia for Felix Kwakye no ana Dr. Oko Boye bam. Ai Oko Boye bam no say ade na Felix any Attorney General any NDC government here ono wonte ase. In any case, ubo obi kwadu na se nipa no ni fo. Ai Oko Boye former health minister says ubo obi kwadu a wo charge obi na nchese nipa na difo. Enti ade nti na wo begina charge so. E dey aba press conference media mu abama Ghana for aka ate ase create impression bi say sampanyifo na wo ye press conference abo omudi no omo wies kase na omo wies kase Oko Boye say it's wrong because or the atofos dey be example say atofos ambulance case no ye de call court figures na dey involved nya ye body and ye tudin asa ye de call court nemom ekowi ase no odi bem enti say Attorney General ubobo we di say kwadwo uwi a $12 million na eburu adwene nti ase so ya charge o ye de call court na processes ni nyina akosha ase na sampanyimfo na ubobo omudi no omudi bem a wogu omu fia wie eno na Oko Boye say sa de na Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine ye no on Tiasie, he disagrees with what the Attorney General is doing because it looks like as a prejudgmental, over the court of public opinion, no judges and pennyful wrongly, and some processes in Ashasi or court. Oko Boye say a wrong, and no, and a Felix Abam, and the Oko Boye can, a Felix Aka, Oko Boye can, a Felix Aka, then you have some good talk on a pay. Good morning, Ghana, Metro Television. I mean, now, Nako and Oko Boye, and the Felix Kwakye Ofosu clash.
To say that.
Okay.
When the Attorney General, just responding to Felix, when the Attorney General addresses the nation and states facts that he is taking to court, Moro, is it every charge or prosecution the Attorney General makes that automatically, is it only one outcome that happens in a court? If you're a lawyer, if you are not an Attorney General and you take cases to court, is it automatic that whatever you take to court, you succeed in getting a guilty verdict? Some of the verdicts turn out not guilty. With all due respect, the Attorney General sent Atufos into court, had facts. Did he succeed? No. So if from the word go, just because the Attorney General had a fact that said he has been involved in the payment of, let's say, $10 million to the ambulance dealer, he's caused financial loss, and then prior to that, political actors or communicators sit on TV and say that, wow, this is unprecedented to have paid $10 million. We've never seen some before. This level is extraordinary. You are preempting the whole process. Why is it that people find it difficult to understand this? You are talking as if the thing has come to an end, yet you are now about to take it to the mill where it will be determined whether it is really so or not. How complex is this to understand? Jakpa, the cost of the ambulance deal, if it was $10 million, how would you feel if from the word go, just because Dami came out with fact sheets that this guy has been involved in supplying second-hand vehicles, it has cost us $5 million. And then I sit there and say, wow, in the history of Ghana, $5 million lost through inferior ambulance. It has never happened. When at the end of the day, in court, it turned out that from the appeal, this guy should walk free. That's all we are saying. Take your time. Let it walk through the mill. When it now ends and comes out and is guilty, wherever you take it, I'll be quiet. Because that is an independent platform where adjudication has been made. How difficult is this? I wrote what you said. NSS, extraordinary levels. Because let's say the amount involved is 900 million. What shows Are you, Felix, with all your experience, saying that in the court system, it is automatic, that whatever AG has said is what a court, if that is the case, they shouldn't go to court. Put all these guys inside, because everything you said is sacrosanct. Please.
Okay, but let me try to understand something.
Just before he goes on, so that we don't split us about that. Okay. Moro, what you mean? Has a court pronounced Oyome guilty of any offense in Ghana? Has any court done that? And yet, did they not compose songs? Look, there was a time that for a whole year, please, just so that you can flow with the lightweight matter. Yes, I agree, but just so that you can flow with the lightweight matter, so that we don't have to come back to this. Okay. What you mean? For one whole year, Moro, one whole year, every single day, every day, it was the subject of discussion on radio, and NPP people, Oko Boye and Co, discussed it.
Are you done?
Has any court, even in the wake of all those discussions, pronounced Oyome guilty of any offense?
Are you done?
Okay.
There are two forcing matter. Did NPP people not discuss it before the matter went to court? In fact, I can show you radio, TV discussions of that matter before the AG filed any charges.
All right, I think.
Said in this case, have NPP people not discussed it?
I guess the difference here is that.
What's the difference?
The difference here, and from what you said, is that now the chief
the Attorney General has simply said that no. Moro, I have provided the context that when we were campaigning, we promised people something we called oral Operation Recover All Loot, which was a special effort to retrieve what we believe to be monies or resources of the state illegally appropriated, and prosecute persons we believe have questions to answer in that regard. A process was initiated to gather facts and then proceed to investigate and then prosecute. Just like we give accounts of what has happened under health only this week, like the defense minister has done, interior minister has done, like I do. The Attorney General, who is a public official and spearheading oral, has a duty to keep the public informed about what he is doing, especially in circumstances where NPP people themselves have led the chorus on claims that oral is not functioning.
I think you've.
And all that the Attorney General has done is that, yes, I have investigated this number of cases. On this particular case, these are the reasons why you heard that I had ordered Abdul Hanan's arrest. Okay. It has been investigated. We have found that this is what he has done. Because of this, I'm taking him to court.
I'll give the chance to.
Tomorrow, that matter, that in itself does not pronounce anybody guilty. In fact, the Attorney General doesn't convict or pronounce anybody guilty. He says, my investigation show that Moro has committed this offense, so I'm taking him to court. It is the court that does that.
All right.
Every accused person, everybody who is accused,
will have his day in court.
What I was actually going to say, that every accused person, everybody accused of wrongdoing in Ghana and elsewhere, goes through the same thing.
Okay.
The matter involving them are discussed. The issues are discussed. Sometimes judges clamp down on people who discuss it and threaten them with contempt. But it is discussed. Okay. There's never been a single case in Ghana that has never been discussed.
All right. So
I think, with all due respect, because my brother is the minister, you can even allocate more time.
Oh, no, that's not it. I thought that because of the way that discussions were started, so that we can focus on light and we don't have to come back to this. That's all. It wasn't an interruption.
It's not complex to understand. All I'm saying is that if someone is making commentary, you said we made commentary on some cases. I don't really have a problem with commentary, especially when it has a political connotation or whatever. But the approach and the pronouncement should not be conclusive in nature. You see, when you say these levels of loot, like you didn't use the word loot, but I've written this extraordinary level. Yet the thing is now about to go through the mail, and you see, he's mentioned accountability series, the thing we just exposed on it. When government comes to say something about an event that happened in the past, the fact that it is coming from government appointees doesn't mean it's sacrosanct. So you must be measured in the way you talk about the things. When you talk about it, I don't have a problem. That we've seen payments, this lightweight thing. So we believe, and I like the phrase you use. Even for you to say we believe means that you know within that it is something you hold, but it might not be true. If it is automatic, you didn't say we believe. You say that it is so. So that's all I'm saying. And you see, people are watching us. People listen to us. Now when you go to, let's say, social media, because of the way some of you present the case, you will see they'll put the pictures of, let's say, these people you are now taking to court. Say, can you imagine they took all this money? These things are happening. You are in charge. So I'm not saying you are the one sponsoring it, but when you monitor,
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. And
right.
let me finally also say that, I mean, the court system is always the best way to come out with the true facts where both sides have been listened to. And it's interesting that people like Serinam Tamaklo, for some very strategic reason, when my brother Felix and their team talk, they conveniently even avoid those occurrences. Meanwhile, even those ones, it's gone through the mill and has arrived. And nobody's interested in where she's living in the world, whether she's bringing the money back, because, of course, he's belonging to a particular political family. But it's for Ghanaians to judge.
Abujafo, yadamu nyina se mo hwe aha na janto team pacho so kato show ne twagu ye no. Felix Kwakye Ofosu and Dr. Oko Boye, former health minister, and I would see omumienu nkan on Attorney General press conference that way on corrupt related, practices here in the country, especially in the last 8 years. Nana janto de so kato show in the next episode obetene nkan. Tie fa dwuma de nsia, ye besa hia biem. Yakramo.